Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the Positive Mental Health Symposium. Matt Pearlstein from eq4peace.org, and we are working on how to deal with our mental health in positive ways. We're saying that we can have issues and problems, and we got to deal with our issues and problems, and we can deal with our issues and problems, and we can also do better than that. We can rise above them and be actually better off and have better life and be happier and more successful and more powerful because of our problems, in spite of and because of. So that's about positive mental health, like positive psychology. We don't have to just survive, we can thrive. So our next speaker is Fahima, wonderful lady from India, who has been working in this field for a long time. And I'm very honored to have you here. So go ahead and introduce yourself and your subject, and off we go.
Okay, hi, I'm Fahima Rashid from India, and I'm a psychologist working in a school. I started my career as an HIV counselor, and then I moved into school counseling, where I'm dealing with a number of amazing, spirit-throbbing children and teenagers. So the most stressful stage of married couples' life together is when they start having children, because now there is less attention, less intimacy, more blame between the spouse. The reason that so many, parents find raising children difficult in our modern society is because of the gap between how we were wired to raise our offspring and the environment we find ourselves currently living in. So ever you felt like, you're following a script as a parent, or, checking off boxes on a checklist that has been prescribed by others around you? How about, the comparison game, like comparing to how your parents raised you and what the latest parenting book says, or what is your Facebook feed. So all these factors make parenting even more exhausting than it already is. Why do we do these things to ourselves? Because we feel we have to. So embedded in our psyche by the culture that we get admission to a good college, a great job, a perfect spouse, perfect kids, we will be happy. That is happiness. So, this list goes on with this linear happiness. We work for happiness, but, children are happiness. So there's a complete transformation in the family dynamics, the parenting style, and the environment we are living in. Like, from joint family, where mothers were homemakers, strict, rigid rules, and one-way communication, less option in lifestyle, play, more of play, and, to now mother, father, and two kids. And in most families, single parents with kids, both are working. There's imbalance of freedom and boundaries, many options given, and worse, being exposed to the seductive social media and gadgets. So unconsciously, we step into parenthood with the conditioned mindset that you were raised with, about children, that they ought to be like this. So don't say a no to me. Be perfect, best of manners, a superstar, academically well doing, good at everything, and all rounder. So in an environment, all this is happening in an environment which the children is getting is so competitive, excessively intellectually stimulating, and where there is seductive social media. So we see the factors outside, that is external to us, are so stressful. We are unable to restore that harmony and peace within us. So when these mini versions before us say or do things, it quivers us. And then there is a loud reaction, because we are operating unconsciously from our fears. And when we respond from the position of fear, we are loud, angry, anxious, abusive, and cursing. And when we respond from the position of love, there is abundance, there is understanding, there is empathy, there is acceptance. So every parent wants that golden key to raise well behaved, academically gifted, and successful, happy children. But embedded in the collective psyche again is the notion that we can achieve these goals only through disciplining them. So, what is required here, I believe, to make parenting less stressful is that we need to be consciously aware of our feelings and thoughts. That conscious awareness means to be in the moment, and this is something emotional intelligence stresses on. And in the present, not ruled by the past or the future. So I, as a parent, will be able to connect with the child when I am living in that moment. Till I operate from the past and future, I will be sucked by the sadness and anxiety. And then I will keep correcting my child instead of connecting with him. So when you connect with the child, you open the doors of communication. You will ask yourself, if I respond in this way, will it build a connection or it will break the connection? So I need to de-entangle myself from the clutches of those fears that I transpose on my child. So you need to understand the developmental stages of the child. The 0 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 10, 10 to 15, and onwards. So every developmental stage has their own certain characteristics. So the child wants to be seen and heard, and they continue to meet this need till they grow up. Even as we adults, we want to be seen and heard all the time. We want to be appreciated by our spouse. We want to be appreciated by our boss, you know. So these children's behavior is a way of communicating to you, telling you about what they need. So when we give the behavior a label, we miss the need of the child. And then the child and you are both cranky, disconnected. So there's no positive learning that is happening if the child is pained, shamed, or scared. So what is your reaction making him feel? Pain, shame, or fear? What learning will happen? So do you think, they would want to learn from you? No, they would run away from you. They will refuse to learn. So you insist on teaching by not connecting, and this will add to your stress. So the first 7 years of life, you need to, children need to play with you need to play with your children, and you need to do more of play and play and play. No matter they get messy, they're dirty, they will have, things scattered all around, they will not stand still, they will be noisy, scolding, punishing the child, punishing the child for behaving their authentic self. And this will only add to their stress. So when you try to teach, when you've already made a connection in these 7 years of their life, and then the next stage is it where you try to teach them, and where you have already maintained that connection, where the child idolizes you, and now the child would, willingly want to follow you what you're doing. So the next 7 years of life is where you're teaching him. The child learns by looking at you, by observing you, and he imbibes those things in him. And then the next 7 years of life would be the child, where the child is actually implementing what he has learned. Though it will not be easy, I said every stage comes with their own characteristics. But that is where you have to model the child to the child, the right behavior. So you need to focus on, building the connection that is based on warmth, encouragement, love, and acceptance. So the child, when you do this, when the child is given this sufficient amount, when this cup is full with warmth, encouragement, love, and acceptance, he will uncover his strengths and his potential. So you don't need to stress. You don't need to stress about him, or you don't need to, uh, uh, pressure him or be in, most of the parents, they are themselves under pressure that the child do well. So when we find ourselves under pressure, we will not be able to fill their cup with warmth and acceptance and encouragement. So putting pressure on them to perform in school and participate and win all the time and in extracurricular activities and prepare for college. So this makes parenting stressful because our children are not us. More importantly, we don't own them. Our vision for their life might not be right for them, but still we post our proud moments on Facebook to make ourselves feel better about how well we are as parents. So the certification our child gets is, it is actually, we consider the child is and excels in achievements as an A as a parent for myself. That I have excelled as a parent because my child is achieving. If my child is underachiever, I have failed as a parent. So this, invariably is, the checklist I spoke about, that, that is uh, transferred, that we carry, that is carried on from generations to generations, from parents to the children, and then passed on without checking. So for that, this shift, it requires a lot of consciousness. So the implications, of modern day parenting is tremendous. We are anxious parents living in an anxious culture. Very sad. But where the culture tells us to have perfect children, disciplined, putting them on the pinnacle of success. So if you are able to do so, you are a good parent. So this only increases our anxiety. And we feel so out of control while raising our children because there is a huge discrepancy between the expectations and the reality. What I'm expecting from the child and what the child is capable of, according to his age, according to his personality, according to his interests, according to his authentic self. Let us have realistic expectations about children's developmental stages. And I think every parent must read about the developmental stage their child is in. Because when mothers are discharged from the hospital after their deliveries, they are not given a card or a checklist or a workbook or a guide to help them, that this is something on parenting and these are the developmental stages and you need to be careful and you need to do this. Sadly, we don't get that. So parenting is a journey, it is an experience where we grow with the child. So it's not about the child, parenting is about you. So I need to see myself, what am I hollow in, to fill that up so that I am capable and I am effective, and more effectively I can raise my child with, making him confident, making him nurturing, and making him, productive, responsible. So parenting is all about you, as I said. So it's you who have to develop the skills. You have to work on yourself that will facilitate better connection with your child. As I said, most of our reactivity is fear based. And I need to become consciously aware of my fears, like, my child feeling bad. It's me feeling bad about my child not scoring well. So it's more than my child feeling bad. It's me who's feeling bad. Oh, my child did not score well. Now what will happen? Right? So now he will lose his friends or the teacher will not like him. So my, is my reactivity coming out of abundance, which is absolutely not, or because I'm terrified. So consciously or unconsciously, many people have children because they want some needs to be filled by them. So they see them as their mini versions who will fulfill their dreams, the parents' dreams, right? So the children there are not have come to this world to fulfill your needs or dreams, but to figure out what is their purpose in their life. So love is conditional. If you see, it is based on fear and control. And if you do that, I don't like, you will be, if you do something like, I don't like, if you tell that, if you convey that to the child, you're doing this, so I don't like that, you will be outcast in my eyes. So it's okay if your child has different views. It's okay if your child's interests are different, right? It's okay. It's okay if they just don't want to listen to you at times. Now you love. Are you able to love now? Right? So the point is that I need to work on myself first. I need to live in the moment, feel it to heal it, work on my relationship with myself, and don't gear up your fear. Remove unnecessary stressors by having realistic expectations. So when I remove
Mm.
those unnecessary stressors, I see that those young parents, young mommies and daddies who have little, babies and toddlers, they started teaching them, poems. It's a culture in India. Like, you've seen they will, the baby is barely 8 months and 9 months, and there he's sitting in front of the laptop with the nursery rhymes, ABCD. So there is so much competition in the parents more than the children. So you need to remove those unnecessary stressors by having realistic expectations. Ask yourself, is my reactivity out of fear or love? So they are not your mini version, as I said before earlier, that they are not your mini versions to fulfill your dreams. They are there to figure out themselves about their purpose. And you are the catalyst for that discovery. And for this to be achieved, you need to connect, accept, and encourage them. And when this starts to happen, your parenting will become much easier. So, when we talk about emotional intelligence, which is, the ability to understand, manage, and use your emotions in positive ways, it means you get, when parents learn emotional intelligence, those skills to be, improve their emotional intelligence, it means you're getting smarter with your feelings, right? So as to make parents conscious and purposeful in their parenting. And this helps you become self aware. We were speaking about self awareness. We were speaking about self awareness. So, you become self aware that it is critical for parents who want to be conscious and effective. So self-awareness is, all understanding yourself and your behavior, what you are doing, how you feel about it, and what you don't know. And this shift is difficult though. Again, it comes with practice. You need to practice a lot. You need to, you need to actually work on yourself to become consciously present in, to be consciously aware in the moment, in the present. And it is difficult though, and it comes with practice. A lot of working on yourself is required, and a lot of practice is needed.
Definitely. All right. Very good. Thank you, Fahima. One of my most important things is parents. Definitely, um, I believe that most parents don't know. It's my parents didn't teach me because they didn't know about emotions. They didn't know. They didn't talk about them. Their parents didn't talk about them. No one's talking about them. They yet or in the past they just didn't. And so we're trying to change that, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for them. It's uncomfortable for us. But I totally agree with you that the parents need to become more self-aware and heal themselves first. And right, one of your main
We
points.
have adapted as we have moved to a different, every generation. We have, adapted to a different lifestyle. We have adapted to the latest technology. Our eating habits, our dressing sense, and everything has changed as compared to what our parents were. Right?
Yeah,
Everything has
yeah,
changed. But one thing we just refuse to change in is to adapt to a new version of parenting. We want to stick to what we've been wired with, and that's why I say that parents are the most defensive species on earth. They just don't want to accept that there's somewhere they're going wrong. They need to correct their ways because you generally I find most of the times I find parents saying that in our times our parents did this way, and we were not like this. So every generation is different. You cannot compare this present generation, as I said, which is surrounded with so intellectually stimulating environment, with seductive social media, and so many options, and uh, huge intellectual capacity that they have. People, children are scoring 99. Majority of the children are scoring 99. Where in my
mm,
times, there were a small proportion of children, the small percentage of children who scored 99. There were majority who were in the 80s and 70s. So 99,
mm,
getting 99 was like, a big thing. But now
mm,
children are getting 99 just like it's a piece of cake. So
mm.
the intellectual capacity of children is very high. So we cannot compare the two generations. It's like you're putting in a three socket, the three pin plug into a two pin plug. So that cannot be fitted. So it's sad, but then this is where we need to work a lot on conscious awareness. Parents need to be consciously aware of what is happening, what are they wired with, to debunk, and give away with things that are not working, and
Mm.
work on connecting rather than correcting. Before then,
Nice.
before correcting.
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm happy to hear you say that you believe the intellectual capacity of the kids is very high, higher than our parents, right? Really, that's good. I didn't know that. I'm happy to hear that because that's harder to teach. Because it's kind of a more natural state, as far as I know. However, our emotional capacity is not as
Very low.
not doing that great, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, yes.
Right.
These today's
And it's
generation, you see that yeah, I'm sorry to cut you, but today's generation, you see that the intellectual capacity is very high, but they're very intolerant. They're very impatient.
mm,
The
mm,
suicide is highest among adolescents. Mental health issues
okay.
are high. So where are things going wrong with this intellectual capacity? But these emotions are, you're so weak with that, because we're not focusing on emotional skill building. We're not focusing on, still a lot of work needs
Yeah.
to be done on emotional intelligence.
Yeah. No
We
kidding.
are
I was gonna
only
say
looking at
yet,
athletes. Yeah.
right? Yet. We are not working on emotional skills yet. We're getting there. It's slowly happening. Unfortunately, the reason it's happening and it's becoming more of a priority and more importance is because things are not going well, right? Things emotionally, things are not going well. And so they're going, oh, wow, we better do something about this. There's some new initiatives in the United States, at least some now, the emotional intelligence, we call it social emotional learning in schools, right? It's in some schools and it's required. Mental health training now is required in some states in the United States, which makes me very happy. But we got a long way to go, but it's moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, it's moving that way because of all the things that are going wrong. So we got to be doing what we're doing. We got to teach the parents, we got to teach the kids, we got to teach the teachers. It's that ripple effect that you were alluding to, is that if we teach the parents, if we can open up the parents, then that goes down and out and up and every which way. The parents are a huge focus of this, right?
Yeah.
Great. um Great. Thank you. That was wonderful. It was really good to hear your focus on the parents, asking them to work on their skills. I think teachers know that this is needed in the schools. Teachers know that kids need to be more engaged. They know that the kids don't know how to deal with their emotions. They know that they want to create connectivity, etc. They may not have time and they may not know how to do that, but they know that it's needed. The parents don't really know. I don't think parents mostly know that this is a problem. Like you said, they are
Yeah.
continuing to do what they learned and what they saw, and they don't necessarily know there's a problem. So that's a problem in itself, is that we need to kind
Exactly.
of get
Yes.
their attention. Hello.
I
So,
think if the
so
parents start accepting this, most of the problems will be solved.
really, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because, yeah, because we're trying to do parents, teachers, and bosses, the main three: school, work, and home. Parents, teachers, and bosses, because they're all up here, and we're doing this top-down strategy. And I'm very happy to hear that you're on the side of helping with the parents. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thanks for all the information you gave. Do you want to put in the chat or about how to get a hold of you? Do you want, you have a website or email address, or it's up to you if you want to put that in? Okay, great. Okay, cool. All right. While you're doing that, I know you're a very big part of Nurture Life, and Nurture Life is in India. It started in India, but you've gone to many, many countries. They have chapters in many countries, including us, the United States. We EQ for Peace is a chapter of Nurture Life that Fahima's real involved with. And they're specifically working with mental health, but they're also aware that emotional intelligence is a huge part of mental health. So we're on the same team, and we're doing lots of stuff together. One of the things that I'm very excited about us doing together is clubs in the schools. Clubs, not necessarily in the curriculum. I mean, that's important too if we can get it in, but that's much harder and more expensive and such to get it into curriculum, into the regular curriculum. But what we're finding is that having a club makes it so that it's off hours a little bit, either before, during, or after school. But secondarily, and very importantly, is it's optional. It's voluntary, and so the kids are going there because they want to learn, because they are wanting to connect with the other kids, and we can help them in huge ways. They're more open because they're there because they want to be there. We can make it really fun, and then learn how to deal with our emotions and each other based on fun, based on enjoying being, having activities that are engaging and interesting and enjoyable, right? Yep. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you again, Fahima. I see your emails in the chat if anybody needs to get a hold of you. And keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate that you are that you're making a difference in the schools and with the parents. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.